first book and made a beautiful friend in the process. I was asked by the National Cartoonists Society to write up a remembrance of Morrie for their quarterly newsletter, and Morris asked me to read it out, so here's the story. So it was midsummer, 1968, a handsome black man, a bundle tucked under his arm, breezed into the little shop of Trubadore Press in San Francisco. With a winning smile and easy manner, Morrie Turner introduced himself and his idea for a coloring book of famous black Americans as told by his wee pals, cartoon characters. It was only a couple of months since Martin Luther King was assassinated, and we were all saddened and frustrated with the continuing racial tension in the country. What could we do to make things better? Maybe Morrie's book, with its integrated cast, would be a start. Morrie unwrapped his hand-drawn portraits of black Americans, plus several roughed-out cartoon biographies, and explained the concept. I was excited to publish this book, both for its historic value and because it had cartoons. I love cartoon art. I titled it The Black and White Coloring Book, both as a nod to the diversified cast and also a not so subtle pun on the book's form. Morrie had never made a book before, and we made very good, but he made a very good beginning. We worked out a few additional design elements, contacted Lou Little, whose syndicate represented Wheat Pals, for permission to use the comic kits in the book, signed a royalty contract and a black and white coloring book. A picture of dashing Morrie and sparkling Letha, who did so much of the research gracing its back cover, was born. The book sold 10,000 copies, introducing to countless more readers the deeds of black pioneers such as Sojourner Truth, who was born to slavery but emerged as a powerful 19th century abolitionist and women's rights activist, Matthew Henson, co-discoverer with Robert E. Peary of the North Pole in 1908, and Charles Drew, early 20th century authority on the safe preparation and storage of blood plasma. Through the making of the book, Morrie and I became lifelong friends. He introduced me to the NCCHA, that's the Northern California Cartoonists and Humorists Association, where we enjoyed no-host dinner meetings held by gag writer Ed Mitchell. The food was hearty, the drinks plentiful, as the evening crested to a raffle of original cartoon art donated by the artists in attendance. A few members of the NCCHA and I formed a board to found the San Francisco's Cartoon Art Museum in 1984. And Morrie was one of our first advisors. The museum was proud to present him with its 2002 Sparky Awards for Lifetime Achievement in Cartoon Art. Morrie published many, many books after the black and white coloring book. They covered subjects from crime prevention, neighborhood gangs, good nutrition, childhood education, AIDS, and anemia. He also did volumes on famous black athletes. There's another page here somewhere. And one an accomplished African-American women, past and present, called super sisters. He rarely refused a request to speak at a school. He spellbound kids with his facile drawings and he slyly extolled the rewards of staying in school and learning. In return, their gentle enthusiasm has energized him many times over, creating material for the Berkeley Library Summer Reading Program, include symphonies, special Wee Pals concerts for youngsters, despite all the work involved, also gave Morrie a terrific lift. However, the most incredible call of all came from the White House. To join Sesame Street's Joan Gans Cooney and Fred Mr. Rogers at the Conference on Children to form guidelines for children's television. None of these head-turning attainments spoiled Morrie. He remained the same cool dude I met in 1968. Always eager to talk about his latest ideas, but more than equally interested in what you were doing. Once in a while, he'd send me a draft of a new project for comment, and we'd call or have lunch in San Francisco for an update on our lives. He continued to create right up to the end, aiming first to give a chuckle or a grin, but leaving behind a message of goodwill, as Mary Kendra Erickson said of him in her biography of Morrie. He never seemed to tire. How did he do it? I think he could keep up his bustling pace because he operated in a perpetual state of wonderment. Wonder was his engine. Morrie was constantly amazed that he could make a living doing what he loved to do. People intrigued him and delighted him. His eyes glistened with the loveness of his dear friends and growing family. The world around him was a wondrous celebration, and he shared that with us through his work, his art, and his whole being, so that we may bask in the wondrous richness of life too. Morrie often gave a gentle reminder on departure to keep the faith. I believe wonder was part of his faith. It's the faith indeed worth keeping.